Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Pranams, pranams, pranams. Huh?
Namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar. Today, morning Arati session, before that, we were prompted to dwell on Pujya Swamiji's mention about real home. Those of you who have not had the privilege of hearing it, we will repeat it again, because that's a very important and vital aspect. Occasions like Mahasamadhi Day, Jayanti Day, Sannyas Day, we name it not for the sake of anything else, but for the sake of reminding us about the need to intensify our sadhana in our spiritual journey. Otherwise, it is like any other day, absolutely no change. But when we give a label, on that day we try to remember something more. That is the purpose of naming it a particular day. Especially from 90s onwards, we have been doing this in ashram. Before that, we had hardly heard anything about this. Because Puja Mataji, immediately after Papa's Samadhi Day, clearly mentioned that all such celebrations should be done in their own place. That was in 1963. In the September revision, she made this announcement. So after that, though we were coming, we have never heard anything particular about these days. But on the 70th birthday of Puja Swamiji, that was in 89, one devotee made a mention about this to Puja Swamiji. And Swamiji smiled. And somehow word got spread that 1919 was Swamiji's year of birth. And then on that day, no, there was nothing special. Evening, the devotees came and asked Swamiji, can we have Akhandaram now? And he said, okay. From that day on, then naturally, Mataji's Papa's Samadhi, Sannyas Day came. Then Mataji's Samadhi Day. Like that, every such incident, every such day was intensely remembered. And we used to request Puja Swamiji to give us some message. And those messages are contained in the Points to Ponder book. Looking back, we find we have not, the purpose for which the day is observed or celebrated has not gone deep into us. We get some joy, that's all. And it doesn't stay. So this time when this mention was made, he made us to think about it. How do we eke out the benefit out of remembering this? One method could be, or one way could be, to remind us how we got connected with this saint. In the sense, not the circumstantial or whatever you call it, instrumental cause. We are trying to find out what made us to get connected internally with that saint. Anyway, Om Shiva. That is important, because that experience only one knows. Nobody will know that. So today we remember when we heard about Puja Swamiji, or when we saw him, or when we had contacted him, Apart from the usual feeling that he is love personified, he is humility personified, those things are there. But what is it that made me to connect myself with him? That inquiry might give us the knowledge of what is inside us, not outside. That could be the real purpose of observing this. Because due to various preoccupations, we would not have applied our mind on those aspects intensely. But this day offers an opportunity. When did we first meet him? What did we carry when we left? Whenever we remember him, is it welling up? Something like that. Is it slowly influencing my life? Am I sincerely trying to translate what has been touched and kindled in me in my day-to-day life? Like that. So today, another point that came to us was, we will pick out something, that on which we will intensely go through. So when such a prompting came, we were going through an interactive session he had with a devotee from abroad. In that question answer, these points were brought out. And in that, he mentions about real home. Papa has been prompting us to learn, to dwell on, is that sound is all right? Sound is all right? Dwell on the first cause, the root of every being, the origin of us, where from we came. Because in one of his quotations he said, you should go to the origin of your and the world life. That alone will make us know the common factor in everybody. Hari Om. Where from all of us have come. The moment we know that we have all come from the same place, affinity starts developing. When Papa announced that the idea of the ashram is universal love and service based upon the vision of divinity, the divinity is the source from which all of us have come forth. So far we have not applied our mind on that aspect. So Papa has been prompting for the past so many days now on this aspect, vital aspect. Where from we came. So Swamiji puts it in a different way, real home. We will read out that particular portion. Human birth is a gateway to liberation. Having taken birth, we are also endowed with intellect. Using the intellect, we find that there is something higher than what the world can give us. We can get happiness depending upon certain conditions. That happiness is always followed by sorrow. Our intellect tells us that there is something more than this. When we come in contact with spiritual preceptors, gurus, scriptures, we find that there is an eternal happiness. Then we start trying for it. That is the vocation, the turning point in our life to return home. First to remind us about the home, okay. Then to return home. We have never applied our mind on this returning to our own home. Because we started with the me and mine. We were never prompted to look into what was me at the time of my mother conceiving me. Is that not our real home? The seed level. And in Bhagavad Gita he says, I am the seed. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam. So our real home is the Lord. But intellectually we can understand. But in spite of all these things, we still start from our me and mind level. So that is why here Swamiji says, we start trying for it. That is the vocation, the turning point in our life to return home. Then the efforts to go back home begin. We come in contact with a wise man who knows the truth. He tells us how to go back. He asks us to meditate on our true being or any other method that will lead us to our original home. In that process, we purify ourselves, meaning our mind gets purified. All those desires are dropped off. All the effects of the desires are dropped off. The effects of our actions are also dropped off, and the mind becomes perfectly still. No agitation. When it is perfectly still, we have a glimpse of our true being. By further effort to remain in that state continuously, we get established in a state which is our real home, our own self. So we go back as naked as we started from there. That is the condition to shed all that you have earned during your journey. Then we are qualified to enter our home. Continuing, he said, Vasanas are the impressions left behind by each and every thought. Every thought and action leaves an impression in our mind. That is why we use the word dirt. We have gathered a lot of dirt. Every thought, good or bad, every action, good or bad, leaves an impression or a layer of dirt in our mind. We can imagine what we have done many years ago, suddenly coming to our mind now. It has been there. All those things have to be removed before we can say that we have shed all that we have earned during our lifetime. Then only we are absolutely pure, free and qualified for liberation. Definitely it takes many years of hard work to purify our mind. It depends upon how much dirt we have gathered. In some cases it is not that difficult because they have not gathered much dirt. When once dirt is like a mountain, it takes a longer time to remove. All the vasanas have to go before we can realize the truth. We must have accumulated them from ages. We come with all those vasanas and may add some more and carry them forward, and it goes on until the whole thing is destroyed. When we have made the mind pure and realize that we are one with the absolute truth, then the vasanas are all destroyed. That is the only way. So we concentrate on the word real home. And he also gives us the real home is something like the stillness, quietude. So now we are again prompted. That's our Ramnam is helping us to quieten the mind. Do all our actions at the family level, professional level, social level. Help us to gain that quietude, calmness. Because Papa has categorically declared that utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. A very powerful quotation of Papa. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still. Free from all thoughts. It is in the stillness that you know and realize God. And we have seen in Puja Swamiji that graceful, calm, quiet, unruffled, if there is a word, unexcited. In Jain philosophy, there is a word, Vismayam Nasti, there is no wonder. If anything, there is nothing like that. During our close contact with Swamiji, we have never come across one incident where he said, there is no wonder. Everything happens. You and I say that because we have not got stabilized. But when we get stabilized, he places before us that you will not get elated nor dejected by anything that is happening. Neither we get elated nor we get depressed or dejected. So that quietude, Later on he used to say, his attempt is to try to get stabilized in it. So outwardly he was keeping quiet. Everybody thought, that is his nature. But the effort was to get stabilized in it, and he has mentioned he is in the process of getting stabilized. To us, he is already stabilized. He says so, but we have found one single, there may be a few incidents, but by and large, his whole life has been on that solid, firm root. So he is pointing out today that by real home, what is meant is that quiet, calm, serenity, So now we are asking ourselves whether all our spiritual disciplines are helping us to have a dip into that, have a peep into it. And he is the proof. So not only his words, but his very life. We should compare both these. The effects of our action. He asks us to meditate on our true being or any other method that will lead us to our original home. And the mind becomes perfectly still. When it is perfectly still, we have a glimpse of our true being. By further effort to remain in that state continuously, we get established in that state which is our real home, our own self. We go back as naked as we started from there. That is the condition to shed all that we have earned during our journey. So that means our source, from where we started. So spiritual journey is only, Papa, when we are making mention about the religion, he said in Latin, it's called, religion means going back to our own home. That is the meaning of this word religion. He has mentioned somewhere in Lizare, correct. Binding back, something like that, Lizare, correct. So that means binding back, going back to our original. So all these point out to us that so far we have not applied our mind seriously on that, Now today, Swamiji also pushes one step, that our effort should be to go back to the source from which we have come. That is what is called spirituality or spiritual journey. For that, all our sadhanas should help us. So we try to interpret the sadhana which we are following with this new perspective. Because whatever we have been so far doing, it has not made us to get that quietude or calmness, or we do not feel that we are progressing on those lines. Insufficiency is felt by every sincere sadhaka. So today, Swamiji brings a new word called real home. The more we go deep into it, we know what he meant could be only the source. So we have found out intellectually that God is the source. Because we all started with the bijam in our mother's womb. That much we are all certain. We did not get dropped from the sky. So then Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Bijam Mam Sarvabhutanam. I am the eternal seed. And we have gone through many a time, 6 or 7 or 8 slokas, where he keeps on explaining about this. Bijam, 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 Bijam. So Nama chanting should enable us to go to the origin, connecting ourselves with the origin. Instead of trying to go back to that origin, we try to identify with a superimposed sense of individuality, which came later. And this superimposition, that is we have to remove it. That is what Swamiji said, naked. This origin, at the moment we are not aware of it because of so many layers of things that keep the origin hidden. So by nakedness we meant only to remove all those things, all the conditionings and superimpositions, the projected me and mine. That is the one which prohibits me to know him. And that is the real home. Once again we will read that particular portion. Human birth is a gateway to liberation. We have all been gifted with this human birth. Having taken birth, we are also endowed with intellect. Using the intellect, we find that there is something higher than what the world can give outside. We can get happiness depending upon certain conditions. But we have found that happiness is always followed by sorrow. At one time we feel happy, when we lose it, the moment the struggle is there to protect it, whether it is name, fame or wealth or position or status. Again the tension comes, stressful. So that happiness is always followed by sorrow. Our intellect tells us that there is something more than this. And that is called eternal happiness. the happiness that stays with us. Actually, though Papa uses the word eternal happiness, he has also given another dimension, another definition for that. Objectless happiness. That is eternal happiness. Anything that is based on any object, that is ephemeral, not eternal, impermanent. For some time it will be there and then it will not be there. But eternal happiness is the one which does not depend upon any object. So he names it beautifully as objectless happiness. Happiness absolute, It is not related to anything. Bliss, that is called Anand. So when we start trying, when we know that there is something higher than what we have so far been enjoying or missing or suffering, and when we have, at a particular moment, God draws us to a spiritual preceptor, and somewhere the spark comes, or the spark is touched and made known to us, that there is something higher than what we have named as happiness. All of us can go back to our own days when we first met a spiritual preceptor. And why does he exert so much influence on us? We have confused it at the physical level. And that is why it has not been staying with us. When we remember it is coming, then we forget. We find the joy when we remember. It has not become a part of our own. It is purely related to the form, except. But here it is something else. Though the form was responsible to know about it, we know that it is beyond form. That it's a particular feeling, Yeah, it's a feeling, not a memory, not this. It's a feeling. What it is, we cannot explain, because it is not within the ambit of knowables. But everyone must have felt it. So we are trying now, to relive those moments, because it is coming from inside. It is not dependent upon any. Of course, the Mahatma or the scripture might have been instrumental causes, but ultimately it has touched and kindled what is in us. So if we start thinking about this eternal happiness, all these things get unfolded. And when we know about it, we start trying for it. That is the turning point in our life to return home. Then the efforts to go back home begins. I am eternal happiness absolute. The moment I am reminded of this by the spiritual preceptor or a book or a shastra, then my effort is to experience it firsthand. And then later on we will understand that is our real home. We are basically, intrinsically, essentially that. We have forgotten. So then the efforts to go back home begins. We come in contact with a wise man who knows the truth. He tells us how to go back. He asks us to meditate on our true being or any other method that will lead us to our original home. In that process, our mind gets purified, desires, effects of our action, everything get dropped off, and the mind becomes perfectly still. When it is perfectly still, we have a glimpse of our true being. By further efforts to remain in that state, we get established in that state, which is our real home. So stillness is our real home. Our own self. We go back as naked as we started from there. That is the condition to shed all that you have earned during your journey. Then we are qualified to enter our home. To shed all that we have earned during our journey, to shed all that we have earned during our journey is the one qualification to enter our home. Anybody would like to say anything?
Are you Swamiji? I have heard Swamiji's video about this home. But I never understood. This morning also, the same thing came to my mind. But thank you for explaining the meaning of real home. சுவாமிஜி, நான் என்னுடைய பர்சனல் இன்டிமேசியை பற்றி சொல்கிறேன். நான் பேர் என்ன மருந்து வாங்க போயிருந்தேன், ஹோமியோபதி. இப்போ வந்தபோது ராஜகோபாலன் இருந்தார், உள்ள சுவாமிஜி இருந்தார். அப்போ உள்ளே போங்கன்னு நீங்கள் அனுப்பிச்சிங்க. உள்ளே போனால் போகணுமா அப்படின்னு கேட்டேன். சாஸ்தாங்கமாக விழுந்து கும்பிடும் போது அதனுடைய உள்ள அர்த்தம் என்ன? போகணுமான்னு கேட்கிறார். பைனாட்டி ஸ்டே இல்லையா, ஆசிரம் எக்ஸ்பெல் பண்ணுறதா இல்லை டேக் கேர் ஆஃப் யுவர் செல்ஃப் அப்படிங்கிறதா? எப்படி
என்ன தோணுறது?
எனக்கு நீங்க தான் விளக்கம்.
எப்படி வேணா இன்டர்பிரட் பண்ணலாம்.
ஆமாம் ஆமாம் ஆமாம், உண்மை.
அவனவனுக்கு உள்ளேன்னு தெரியணுமே. அல்ல இன்னைக்கு இல்லை. இப்போ என்ன வாட் வி ஆர் டிஸ்கஸிங் இஸ் வாட் வி ஆர் சரி அது இட்ஸ் ஓகே. வாட் வி ஆர் டுடே டிஸ்கஸிங் இஸ் that is the problem our mind plays, we are trying to go deep within, from the superficial level. God made Swamiji to convey this sublime truth to us, but instead of trying to go deep into the truth, we stay at the physical form or whatever we have heard. That is why we have not been able to really make use of their presence.
It was really a blessing in disguise.
So now we are trying to effort of his various teachings he has given about the real home. So the real home means he is trying to connect us with the source. So if we apply our mind intensely on that, then probably it will help us in our spiritual journey, and then we will be grateful to him for having touched and kindled in us. That's all. Rather than staying at the physical level. Through the physical level only it was given, agreed. But he expects us to go deep within.
That's only.
Directly and indirectly he has mentioned this many a times. That will give only a fleeting joy. It will not stay with us. That staying with us means does not become a part of our living. Whereas this intense reflection slowly enables us to make it a part of our being. And in our own way, we will be exhibiting it, not in the way in which somebody has expressed it. In our own way. Certain people we have seen, they may not bring out any, soft words or soft approach. They will be rough. They will be crude. But heart of heart, they are so pure. So that means each equipment brings out these in their own way. So we cannot say this is the, this is the norm, standard. Outwardly they may not look like or sound like, but their heart is gold. So what we are trying to understand is, let us try to go deep within, especially these saints. When we are observing their Samadhi day or celebrating their Jayanti day, what is it that makes me to revere them? And to what extent I have been able to bring it out from me. The appreciation or whatever we have, the positive feelings toward that saint, it comes no doubt. But the fusion has taken place.
Sure.
Everybody who comes in contact with the saint need not carry any such feeling. Then we will understand.
Yes,
so when the two minds, the fusion takes place, then only we get kindled. Papa would have met many people. To them, he may be an ordinary person who has got a date of birth and date of death, that's all. Who has left everything. Beyond that, no, they may not. But those who go deeper, and in those the fusion has taken place, to him he is God.
But he had the Samatva Bhavam with all. He had the Samatva Bhavam with all the divinity.
Yeah. We have the Samatva Bhavam for all divinity. Agreed.
Yes.
No, that is right. Samatva Bhavam for all. Agreed. Now we are trying to understand to what extent it has helped us. That is the first part. To become the recipient of their, their grace.
Yes.
First point, agreed. But next one is whether it has gone inside.
Yes.
That is the real purpose,
Yes,
that is it. So that is why we are trying to understand from Swamiji's words. He used the word real home. And we know that it is not a mere talking. He got established in it. Whatever he has said now, the stillness, the quietude, the calmness, the unruffled state of mind, everything. And he said you should go naked. So we know that no assumptions from him, no pretense, like childlike. There are many instances where we have seen spontaneously giving equal importance for everybody. All those things are there. Now the next stage, he has touched and kindled, So now, to what extent we have been able to bring it? Then we said, no, we have failed. Why we have failed? No, now he answers through this real home. So we have to now find out our real home. If we find our real home, we will be able to bring it out. He is the proof. When we remember about Puja Mataji, we know she stands for absence of otherness, which is called universal love. There is no another for her. Now, when I keep on repeating it, will it make me to do that? No. Whether I am doing it Out of 100, at least in one am I been able to do it. Otherwise, it stays at the emotional level. I get some joy. The moment we think about Papa, bliss absolute. Always floating in that blissful state. So, bliss absolute, absence of otherness, and with no pretense, that is what we call humility or humbleness, or childlike innocence. Then all those things we appreciate at the emotional level and go. But we are now trying to find out whether has it really touched me? It has definitely touched all of us. That is why we revere him. But unknowingly we float on the surface. We have not understood why we got connected with him. It is because through that form, God touched and kindled what is in us. So now we have to fan it and bring it aflame. So these occasions offer us an opportunity to do that. It is there in all of us. That is why we are in a position to revere them. A sense of pleasant feeling develops, whatever we call it. The moment we utter their name, the moment we remember them, so many things rush up. But beyond or behind all those things, it is lying in us which has been touched and kindled. So I should not merely stay at that emotional level, something deeper. Swamiji used the word intellect, you remember? So he said, we have been blessed with that intellect. And Papa uses the word be reflective and meditative. Or he used that word. So the tool is intellect. To go deeper. Side by side, ceaseless repetition of God's name, side by side with one point concentrated meditation on the indwelling and all-pervading reality. So the tool, the intellect which has been given to us, is really made use of. So Swamiji is also reminding us, human birth is a gateway to liberation. Having taken birth, we are also endowed with intellect. Using that intellect, we find that there is something higher than what the world can give us. That happiness, our intellect tells us that there is something more than this, more than what we have named as happiness. There is something called eternal happiness. Then we start trying for it. That is the turning point in our life to return home. So today we are trying to make use of this wonderful opportunity under some pretext, So we say that pretext is Samadhi Day. Actually, as a true devotee or a spiritual aspirant, they have only dropped their physical body. They have not left us. So all those things have got limited meaning. Samadhi Day, Jayanti Day. Because they are ever with us, The moment we close our eyes and we think of them, they are before us in the form in which we were touched and kindled. The same inspiring form. So Samadhi Day, we are telling that, sir. Otherwise, every day is the same day today. Today morning also and evening also it comes. There is dawn, there is morning, there is forenoon, there is noon, there is afternoon, there is evening, there is night. There is no change. We are also leading the same life. We get up in the morning, we do the same thing. We eat, we take bath, we involve ourselves in various activities and then we retire to bed. Is there any change? Nothing. So what is the importance of giving a label to the day? A label which enables us to know something deeper than the superficial plane.
Swamiji,
Ah,
I want to share one thing of Swamiji about home. When they were building new colony,
ah,
everyone was taking rooms. So I asked Swamiji, I also wanted one house. So Swamiji's room. Swamiji said, why? Full ashram is yours. Why you want your name in the cottage? I said, yes, Swamiji. Full house is, ashram is my house.
yes.
So I think like that only. Ashram is my house.
But at the same time, we should know those who have got the room, to them also the ashram is a home, So we try to go beyond that,
Yes, sir.
Swamiji,
Tell us.
one reason which strikes me, why you are not able, one reason that strikes me as to why you are not able to go deep within when making such saying is that we go with some desire and request or plead for Swamiji's blessings to carry out those missions successfully. This is eternally felt. So we are not able to travel beyond that and go deep with it. This is my feeling, Swamiji.
Correct. Exactly. So we must pray intensely. That desire may not be there. But these are all some of the tools, hints they give us. When whatever they share, when we go deep into it, then they touch and kindle in us. We have to somehow go beyond the surface level. The surface level gives us some joy.
Swamiji, Swamiji, இப்போ அதெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா அந்த சர்ஃபேஸ் லெவல்லேருந்து கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் வந்துருக்குன்னு அப்படி அது நினைக்கிறது கூட தப்பா ரைட்டா தெரியல. பட் இப்போ டிசையர்லாம் குறைஞ்சிட்டு வருது சுவாமிஜி.
வெரி குட்.
கம்மியாயிட்டு வருது, ஆனா ஃபுல்லா போகல.
அது சரி.
இன்னும் பப்பாவோட கிரேஸ்ல எல்லாம் போகணும்.
போகணும்.
So this real home means only a desireless state, I think. Real home means a desireless state. That's all. Desirelessness.
Is it a desireless state alone?
Desirelessness.
Desirelessness means what?
Real home.
What is desirelessness? We have to analyze, Agreed. That is that when we feel full, desire is something that makes us feel insufficient, incomplete, and with the fulfillment of the desire, we become complete. So when we become complete, we are free from desire. That is Purnam, the state of fullness. We can term it now as that is the real home. Behind every desire we feel, if that is also there, I become full. If that is also there, if that is also fulfilled, I must do this, I must do that, I must have this, I must do this. All those things, that make me feel, with that I will become full. But I have been watching myself that though desires come up and I try to get fulfilled, immediately after the fulfillment, the fullness goes. Again I shift for something else and desire for more. So this goes on, and one fine morning we die. Again we carry over all these things. So now that we have been blessed with the holy company of our masters, and their words of wisdom is slowly percolating into us, we are trying to understand that we should reach a fullness inside. That means we are not going to become static, Nothing will be initiated from us. Sarvaramba Parityagi. If somebody says something, okay, if that is in line with our sadhana, we will do it. But nothing will be initiated for us. So when we say we are trying to reach that fullness, it doesn't mean that we become inactive, no? Certainly not. Nothing will be initiated from our side. Because we don't need. At the same time, when somebody says, okay, when there is a demand, we go and do it. When there is a strong inner prompting, we do it. But that will be free from any self-interest. Because when we were discussing the Sarvarambha Parityagi, it gives a literal meaning is he doesn't initiate anything by himself. Then we have found one more interpretation. Where there is no self-interest, he will involve. Jagat Hitayaja, Atmano Mokshartam, Jagat Hitayaja. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishads, this word is there. Atmano Mokshartam, Jagat Hitayaja. I try to reach that fullness. At the same time, all my activities will be for the benefit of others, benefit of his creation. So far, many of our desires, if we closely analyze, it may be to appease or satisfy the needs of our sense organs. Overt or covert, direct or indirect. So that is why in Bhagavad Gita, in the 12th chapter, when he was mentioning about the lakshana of a true devotee, he said, Anapeksha, Shuchi, Daksha, Udasino, Gatavyata, Sarvaramba Parityagi, Yomat Bhakta Samepriya. Because why he is not initiating? He is full. He doesn't need anything. Apuryamana Matala Pradishtam, yeah. Samudram. When the rivers go and join the ocean, the level does not increase. So similarly, we are always, it's a state, we are aiming at a state where we are always full, which, as you said, can be termed as desirelessness, cravinglessness, ambitionlessness, no? Nothing we need. And Swamiji reminds us by his life. Swamiji, you have been sitting here. Why don't you please get up? Oh, he will get up. So we are trying to understand what is Sarvarambha Parityagi, what is that fullness, no? Always reveling in that, no? So when we try to understand his life and interpret it in the way in which we try to raise ourselves, then we have really made use of this opportunity of observing the Samadhi day. This should be very clear to us. And this is the very purpose. Prior to 1963, celebrations were here. And Mataji said, it is not helping anybody, and moreover we have got financial debts only. So hereafter there will not be, all these days you celebrate in your own place. Don't come to ashram for that. She said, you have been coming and doing it, what is the use of coming year after year without passing a single examination? Huh? Which school will allow? எப்போ அடையிறது? நம்ம பூர்ணம் தான், நம்ம பூர்ணம் தான். We are full and complete. We have to become aware of it, that's all. We feel we are incomplete. So all that we have to do is not that we have to do anything, we have to remove this This,
Yes, we would.
that which veils, ajnan. We are full because we have come from the fullness.
Yes, yes.
We have come from the fullness. We are remaining in the fullness, and we will go back to the fullness. But in between, unfortunately, we thought we are a tiny little human, puny individual, and the limitations we have imposed on ourselves, and we have to now undress.
Narayana, Narayana.
அப்போ எப்போ கிடைக்கும்னு இப்படியே இருக்கு, அதை புரியணுமே. என்ன என்ன we don't know we are full. You are right, we don't know we are full, but Shastras say Mahatmas show their life. Shastras say, Shunvandu Vishwe Amritasya Putraha. Shastras keep on hammering this. You are the heirs of immortal bliss, that is fullness. And then to you and I, probably it may be a theory, but luckily we have been made to come in contact with Mahatmas who have shown in their very life that they are the heir of immortal bliss. So that gives us this feeling, oh, I can also become aware of my fullness, my real worth. God, when He sent us to this world, just like any other parent, He has kept sufficient fixed deposit for us, which fact we have forgotten. Through Mahatmas and Shastras, He is reminding us, don't think you are alone, you are pauper, you have nothing to fall back upon. Sufficient I have kept it for you. In your tiny little body, mind and intellect, I have kept this reserve for you. Just look at it and then feel you are the owner and draw. Whenever you need to draw something, you can go and draw. Because we have come from Him. That is why He said, go to the real home. Our real home. Our real home is bounteous. Papa names it as the great provider, G and P per capital, who has been providing everything to us. It is not a theory. We look back at our own life and then we find, in spite of our not knowing, in spite of our not worshipping, in spite of our not recognizing, He continues to give us. We have to become aware of it. That beautiful word, Swami Vivekananda he is quoting it often. Shunnandu Vishwe Amritasya Putraha. Because that gave him the light, the torch. Previously we were not aware, agreed. With all limitation, we thought, how can we aspire? That is why he is regarded as the world teacher. Because he couldn't contain, he was bubbling with joy the moment he came to know about it. The treasure. Tomorrow we will go through the treasure, the moment we remember about the treasure. That Aptoktim Kananam Tatovarishila in Vivek Chudamani, how he brought it. You said, Eppa Kadajum, when will I get? That was the question raised now. So that also has been answered by Adi Shankara in Vivek Chudamani. You remember, which we brought it out at the time of centenary celebration, a video. It's a wonderful, wonderful sloga. Aptoktim Khananam Tatho Varishila Dukkarshanam Sigridim. That means, there is a mind.
They wrote in the last page.
It comes in the last page.
Stress to serenity, the last page later.
Okay. But during the celebration, we showed those who have attended. They might remember. A video has been prepared on that particular sloga, and how Swami Chinmayanandaji explained to us in an understandable way, not in the literal way, how he brought a simile. That is why we still remember that, because that is something which we can easily, in our own life we have found. When there was no water, we dig the well, The carpenter or the water diviner says it is here, based upon aptoktim, that is the first word. When we get a reliable, when we get a message or an advice, a guidance from a reliable source, aptavakyam, that is what. Then we start digging. We have all done it. And we have, at what depth we will strike water, we will ask. He say between 20 to 30 feet or 30 to 40 feet, something like that he will say. And then we keep on doing it. And we strike the water. Previously water was not visible. So this is something which is related to our workaday life, daily life. We have experienced it. So the moment we hear this Shastra, then we try, similarly, this fullness is within us. At the moment it is covered with so many things, debris. So we have to unearth that. So some discipline is necessary to remove it and to make us aware of that which is within us. Tomorrow we will play it again. Hari Om.
Swamiji, water diviner இருக்கு இந்த தேங்காயை கையில வச்சுட்டு போனா அந்த வாட்டர் இருக்கிற இடத்துல சுத்தமாமே.
என்னது?
Water diviner.
தேங்காய்.
ஆமாம். தேங்காய் வைப்பா. இப்போ சுவாமிஜி பெண்டிரத்தை வைப்பார். இந்த கார்பெண்டர் எங்களுக்கெல்லாம் எப்படி இருந்ததுன்னா, அந்த கார்பெண்டர் அந்த இடத்த பார்த்துட்டு இந்த கன்னி மூலையும் சொல்லுவாள். அந்த கன்னி மூலையில் போயிட்டு இங்கே போய் குடிங்கோன்னு சொல்லுவார். He may not be able to scientifically explain, but we were all guided by that carpenter only, and nowhere we have failed. அதில் இன்ட்யூஷன் பகவானோட ஹெல்ப் ஆகிறது, பகவானோட கிரேஸ் ஆகிறது. இன்ட்யூஷனில் அவளுக்கு உள்ளேது கிடைக்கும். Each one follows some pattern. So anyway, what is needed, what we are trying to understand is the fullness is inside, the fixed deposit is inside. We are not aware of it. No, Master says it is there, you go and draw, man. You are not pauper. You are full. Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, all these words keep on reminding us, I am that, I am that, I am that. So I have been thinking. So when they say so, we try to understand how we can become aware of it. Only to become aware of it, not gaining anything. To become aware of what is already there in us. So that is what Pujya Swamiji reminds us today of a real home. And for that he said we have to remove all that we have put on ourselves. Let us see what he gives for tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Shri Ram, Jai
Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai
प्रणाम स्वामी.
प्रणाम प्रणाम.
नमस्कार.
नमस्कारम नमस्कारम. नमस्कारम. अयो.
So one and all.